In the machine cellar of the split level out beyond the City of Light, Person sat in stolid silence, hands folded delicately in his lap, feet turned inward and at rest. Eyes of dust filled with not quite colors that moved. Person could not have been endured on Topaz. On a world of beauty, all beauty, ugliness was a known and despised factor. Brumal and Ordak were malformed, a mole and blindness, but they had been in the community long, and they were intelligent enough to keep to themselves. But their offspring was another matter. With eyes of dust, who could tolerate such a thing? Brumal unpalmed the door and entered. "Father," Person murmured in a tongue as sweet as brook water, tones like butterflies' wings. "Yes, how are you today? Have you had another vision?" Person nodded, his gray sockets turning toward the blind man. "It came earlier, Father. Deepest black, with bright shoots of red thrusting up. It reminded me of the mouth of a volcano, Father." The blind man felt his way to the pallet, lowered his body, and shook his head slowly. "But you have never seen a volcano, my son." Person took a step away from the wall. His great hands hung loosely below his knees. "I know." "Then how?" "The way I saw the gulls dipping over the green spit of land. The way I saw the deep river of orange mud that bubbled its way to the swamp. It is all one, Father. I see." The blind man shook his head in bewilderment. There were answers here to questions he had never asked. "Where is Mother? She has not been to see me in several times." The blind man sighed. "She has taken labor in the wafting center. She must work, son, if we wish to fill up our food bins." "Ah." Person conjured up a vision of the sense centers, where smells and sounds and feelings of beauty were poured out on the air of Topaz for the inhabitants to enjoy. "She must like it there, so near to the scent of gardenias?" "She says it's a job." Person nodded, his great head bowed slightly, and pits of shadow marked his eyes of grayness. "Is there anything you want?" Person slid down the wall into the cool darkness and answered softly, for he knew his father was without sight, even without the sight he possessed. "No, Father, I lack for nothing. I have my meal cakes and my ale. I have my shadows and my colors, and there is the smell of time passing. I need nothing more." "How strange you are, my son," the blind man said. Person gave a soft, musky chuckle of amusement. "How strange I am indeed, Father." The blind man slowly got to his feet, the bones of his legs cracking barely. "Soon, my son," he said finally. "Go sweetly, my father," Person said, using the words of the people of Topaz. "Stay softly," replied his father, traditionally. Then he went out, carefully palm-locking the door and setting it to a fresh combination. Caution could not be too deep in this matter. 20 years had shown that. 20 years, during which time their son had remained alive, to roam at will in his world of strange blind sight. The blind man climbed the ramp to the living floor and sat cross-legged on his low platform, sending soft pipings flickering from a helix-shaped flute. He played without break for some time, until the porter glowed pink, and Ordak took form in the bowl. "Woo!" She stepped out of the bowl and sank into a nest of foamettes. "What a day! If I never smell another gardenia, it'll be too soon." "Good evening, dear. How was he today?" The blind man laid aside his flute and extended his arms to the woman. He took her into their enfolding circle and held her dark hair against his neck. His answer was a grunt. She understood. "How will it be, Brumal? Tell me." He put her from him gently and sighed.
"Ordak, how can I say it'll be good when it gets worse each day? You know he can't go out, and you know we must live here. They would never tolerate him outside, even to the spaceport and off. We are trapped Here, my darling.
She stood up and smoothed down the front of her sweep-spun tunic and skirt. Her hair was coiffed in such a way that the mole on her right cheek was covered. They knew of her deformity, of course, but not seeing it made it easier for them. She was standing there, wondering what would come from the future, her blind husband at her feet, when the future dropped from the sky. As she stood there, silent and wondering, the four-speed drive of a cross-continent copter ruptured, and the ponderous vehicle plunged down from its cruising level at 2,500 feet. It fell 200 yards from the split level, demolishing the above-ground sections of the home without warning. Only the machine cellar was saved by a fluke of impact, saved for the search mechs and analyzers that came later to estimate the damage and to extricate those left alive. Above ground, no one was left alive. The last two known imperfects on Topaz had gone to a companionable rest, where beauty and ugliness had no meaning. But below ground, the terrible thing began in earnest,